I hope you're having a fantastic day today. Today, I wanted to ask you, first off, how your week is going. I hope it's going well. But secondly, I want to ask you, have you made the decision yet about whether or not to send your kid back to school in the fall? If you have, maybe you've already totally made up your mind about what's going to go down and how it's going to happen. But if you haven't, maybe you're one of the parents that are looking for some information or maybe some opinion from other parents on what they think might be, a good idea or not great idea. Definitely, from what I have seen and heard, lots of parents are looking for and seeking advice from other parents about getting, an informed opinion so that we can make an informed decision for our family. I want to say first and foremost, whatever you decide, I don't think there's any wrong answer. I think every family's decision is what's best for their family. So I know that whatever decision you make is going to be the right decision for your family. But if you're a parent like me, the decision's hard. You're weighing so many different options. So many different things are weighing you down about, well, what should I do for this decision? Should I send them to school? Should I keep them home? Right now, so many schools, from what I have heard, they're in their debate of whether or not to open. I've read and heard that a lot of schools might be debating about letting parents choose whether to send them to school or keep them home and just continue the home learning that they did last year. And this has so many parents with strong opinions. And so I honestly think that this is the best way for schools to go about it, is to let parents have the decision, because I think that parents deserve to have that decision every single time. So I definitely think that for schools, that's the right approach, to have the decision in the parent's hand. As a parent myself, I would not want that decision taken out of my hands or taken away from me. So I'm so glad that many parents are choosing this, or getting to choose your options. So today I just wanted to talk about the different options and really just talk about the pros and cons. Some of the things that I have been hearing from parents about what they're considering doing. So first I wanted to talk about, if you are considering continuing to school at home. Definitely, I know so many parents that have kiddos with, um, immunocompromised, or they easily get sick, or you don't want them to go out and be too get too close to students and get sick. So definitely the number one pro is that with being home, they're just going to continue learning from home, much like what they did last year for so many months. So it might just continue the pattern and the rhythm that they are used to, while preventing them from being close to anyone, to prevent them from catching it, right? Another pro Another thing I've heard a lot about is that parents said, well, if, getting the vaccine or getting my kid vaccinated for COVID-19, if that is a requirement to sending my kid back to school, then I might just not let them go back to school. I might keep them home and have the home learning, or I might just homeschool them with a different homeschool program altogether. And you know what? This is not a pro-vax, anti-vax debate, but I just want to say that that's a legitimate concern that so many parents have, especially with it being maybe a brand new vaccine. There are a lot of questions to go with it, right? So I know that a lot of parents have that thought in their head when considering this decision. And again, I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just saying these are things that we need to think about when we are considering this choice for our kids. Another thing to think about, definitely, that I would consider if I was still in school, I was an extreme introvert. So I would have been happy schooling from home and not having to go to school every day and not having to see teachers or students or friends. I would have been totally happy being home. But if your student or your child maybe is an extreme extrovert, like my child's an extreme extrovert, she loves people, loves being around people, that might be another reason you might consider, schooling at home versus sending them to school. So Let me know down below, what are your thoughts right now? Have you already made the decision? Now, some of the things to think about when sending our kiddos to school. Definitely, for so many families, the number one thing I heard last year was, if a parent is trying to work from home, how do we support our kids in learning, in schooling, and learning from home if we're expected to work our regular 9 to 5 from home, right? How do I give my employer my full attention and also give my kid their everything that they need? And the truth is, you just can't. Some employers are being more relaxed about dividing your attention, but other employers are not. So that decision is going to be totally individual to your family on what is it that needs done. If you're a parent that has to maybe have undivided attention, or you have to go back to an office, then you may feel the only option you have left is to send your kid to school. If that is the decision you have made for your family, I totally support you. I totally understand. I get it. So many parents right now are especially without childcare, and yet we're expected to do the full time at home plus the full time home working, and it's just so tough all around. And especially now, it feels like, now that we're into this pandemic a few extra months, our employers are expecting us to have like figured out the balance to give them more of our attention. And I'm thinking, no, I still have, my kids are home 24/7 without any childcare. Childcare centers are not opening up yet. So, I mean, it's tough. It's difficult. So that is one thing to think about when sending our kids, whether or not to send our kids back to school. Definitely something else to think about is getting out of the house, some socialization. If I know some concern parents have is that my kid's mental health is declining, that now that we've been home for 4 months, stuck in the house. Number one, my kid needs to get out of the house. Number two, my kid needs to socialize. It's a definite need they have in their life. And so even though they might, be at home not getting sick, their mental health is declining. And so that now, one health over the other health, we've got to debate it. And these are the tough decisions we have to make as parents. And I know whatever decision you make is going to be the right decision for your family. And so even with all of that said, we've talked about some pros and cons of each, different things to think about when making this decision. One of the things I definitely want you to think about is that even if you decide to send your kid back to school. So let me preface this by saying I'm a math tutor. I love tutoring math. I see everything in statistics. So when we send our kids back to school, statistically, it is only a matter of time before one student gets sick. Statistically, that's how my brain works. I don't know about your brain, but that's how my brain works. And so I listen to statistics a lot when they come out with new statistics weekly, daily, monthly. And so it really is only a matter of time before one student gets sick. And guess what? Even when one student gets sick, the entire school will shut down for a minimum of 2 weeks, because that has been the guidelines right now regarding student centers, youth centers, childcare centers. Even if there's one case associated with that school, the entire school will have to shut down for 2 weeks. So even if you make the decision to send your kiddo back to school, be prepared that it will just be a matter of time before they may have to be home for a 2-week time frame before they open the school back up again. So at some point, you may likely need to figure out how to school from home. That is all I wanted to mention, to keep that in mind. Figure out a method that might work for you, even if it's just for 2 weeks at a time. With all of that said, if you are saying, oh my goodness, I don't want to send my kiddo to school, but I don't want to do the same home learning through the school that we did last year, because that was just crazy. So another thing I've heard is a lot of parents are saying, well, you know what? I'm just going to pull my kid out of the school altogether and start homeschooling. And that is your third option. If you're a parent that you don't want to feel like there's only two options, I don't like either option, there is a third option, homeschooling through a different program. You can sign your kiddo up to homeschool. It's definitely an option. It will likely require a lot of time from a parent teacher. So the parent will have to take on a sort of either supervisory role or teacher role, depending upon the program you choose. And with that being said, I want to say that I actually had, before all of the shutdowns happened, I had already made the decision to homeschool my kiddo. My oldest is starting kindergarten this year, and we have already started her homeschooling program. So I do that every single day now. That's a part of our routine. That's a part of my life. Does it take a lot of time? Yes. Does it take a lot of energy and effort? She loves it. And so that is what's working for us. So I made that decision before 2020. So if that is an option, you want to have a third option over here, that is an option that you can look into. If you're really considering that, I would definitely say look up your state's requirements for homeschooling. The first thing you need to do is research the requirements for your state, because every single state is different. Some states are real relaxed. Other states might be a little bit stricter, but you've got to figure it out based on your state. So with that said, I hope that all of this has helped you, think about a few of the different things that we need to consider before making that decision for your family. And I know, like I said before, I know that whatever decision you make will be the best decision. So make the decision, be confident in that decision. Know that I support your decision 100%. Thank you so much for being here and for being a part of our group. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Let me know what you have already decided or which decision you're leaning towards. So like I said, I chose number 3 for this year. It may change next year, but that's mine right now. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you're thinking, what you're debating, and what you have already chosen if you've already chosen. I would love to hear from you. I cannot wait to hear from you. I hope you all have a fantastic day today. Take care. Bye, y'all.